and only mode.
Hi everyone, welcome to this webinar. Today I'll be showing you how to optimize the preparation of your source file for a smooth translation into MemoQ. You might ask your questions during the presentation, but I will surely get some time at the end of the presentation to answer these questions. So don't hesitate to send them via chat. I will answer them at the end. So here is an overview of what we'll be doing today. The first part would be dedicated to PDF files which have been converted to doc files. That's a very common material to translate, and yet they very often display too many tags once you import them into MemoQ. What I will show you is how to reduce that number of tags so that you get nicer source files and ultimately cleaner TMs. The second part will be about advanced Excel import options and how you can easily import and export, import Excel glossaries into MemoQ, and also how to leverage multilingual files using LiveDocs. Finally, we'll also have a look at Prep Tags, which is a third-party tagging tool, which light version is also available as freeware. That tool allows you to prepare any kind of text file for translation into the own mainstream CAT tools. So about PDF to doc conversion. As I told you, that's one of the most common formats because most CAT tools will import PDF files, but very often they just extract the files out of the PDFs, and if it happens to be some kind of graphic PDF, then you need to run some OCR, need to convert that graphic text into actual text data. So there are lots of commercial tools available for that. The ones that I would recommend, if you don't have them already, would be the AB PDF Transformer, the Nuance PDF Converter, and Solid Converter. All three of them have proved quite reliable over the years, and many users are using them to convert their PDF files into doc. That way they can retain, I would say, most of the formatting of the PDF and deliver their translation in a format they can handle. There are also some freeware tools available, too many of them to mention here. One free web service, though, which is quite well known, is the Nitro PDF to Word, for which you can see the URL right now. And this one is gives really good results too. One thing, though, if you submit, of course, files through a web service, you need to make sure that you're not dealing with the confidential material. So that's for the PDF to doc conversion itself. But as you may have experienced already, once PDF files are converted into Word doc, they usually produce a lot of tags into MemoQ, just the same as for many other CAT tools. You have several options here. What you can do is manually optimize the file. Basically, just open your files and try to type over or change the font format where things look a bit weird. What I will show you today is not that manual optimization, which can be lengthy and time consuming. I will show you how to use the docx conversion, because MemoQ uses by default some optimization here to reduce the number of tags, and that's for the quick option when you're in a hurry. And I will also show you how to use the code zapper set of macros, which is really impressive in its ability to reduce the number of tags in PDF files. So first about code zapper, there is a link to it to download it from our resource center. That's the URL you can see at the top. And here is a very quick how to when using code zapper. I will show you how to use it in a couple of seconds. But basically what you have to do is copy that dot template that that you will download into your Word startup folder. And then once you start Word, you will see that you have a new toolbar, and that's the CZL button that we'll use. That's the light code zapper, which does some minimal tweaking, but usually that's minimal is plenty enough to remove most tags out of your PDF files. And as you can see, there is a note here. When you have weird line breaks and everything, that's something you can use. Clean using the PDF fix and PDF tidy options. So let me just reduce that and open Word. So let's suppose that you have files which have been converted to PDF from PDF. That's our original PDF file, and that's the .doc conversion that you will get with one of the commercial tools I showed you earlier. As you maybe see, I'm not sure if it's zoomed enough. Sorry. Here you should be able to see that. There are some quirks here in the text, and what produces the tags into MemoQ and other tools are all those font changes. You can see, for example, here that the kerning has been reduced, that the intro line has been enlarged, things like that. All this information is most of the time shown as a tag into MemoQ. When we open I just open a default project here, and I will add that document to MemoQ so that you can see what it looks like. Okay, so now my document is imported, and you can see that there are already a number of tags here. And what's most bothering are those tags which are in the middle of your text here. And for some paragraphs, you can see that there are a lot of them, really. Oops, sorry about the undocked translation preview. So what we will do today is try to get rid of those tags. How do we do that? We have several options. The first, and I would say quickest option, would be simply to open your doc file into Word, and then you save that as docx, sorry. So that's my new file here. Yes, I confirm the change and close Word. Okay. Now I can add my document, and I will use the advanced word import option so you can have a look at what it does exactly. So I will add document as and select my docx file. As you can see here, MemoQ by default has an option here to ignore the minor formatting changes to reduce the number of tags. So if you click on OK, okay, and now you will see that there are still a number of tags here, but for the rest of the text, remember those paragraphs where you had lots of different tags? You can see that now they are simply ignored, and even though most of the meaningful formatting like bold, italics, underline is kept, most of the tags are gone. There are still a couple of weird things like, this tab in the middle here, but still, most of the tags are gone. But you can do more than that, because you can see that, for example, this key technical features entry here has a couple of tags in front of it. So what I will do to reduce further the number of tags is clean that file using that code zapper macros. Just showing you again the URL if you want to take a note. Or maybe I will just copy it and paste it into the chat box, so that way that would be easier for you to remember where you can download the different tools I'll be showing you today. So let's go back to MemoQ now. We will remove that file from the project. Okay. Let's open that in Word. I'll be deleting that docx version here. And let's open our original doc file. So as you can see now, maybe seems to be a little delay between clicking and the screen actually showing to you. Okay. Here you have the different font changes here. If we go to our add-in menu, we can see that we have a new custom toolbar, and that toolbar is the code zapper set of macros. There are lots of macros in there. That's a nice set of tools because it deals not only with PDF files which have been converted into Word, but you can do lots of other operations like extracting, for example, the pictures out of a Word file and then bringing them back in after translation, for example, to reduce the volume of your files or for easier management of your files. You can also do several operations like hide all bullets or show them all, change the language for the spell checking, things like that. But what we are interested in here is the CZL option. That's the Code Zapper Lite. So what it will do is try to change the text, but as little as possible, just basically to make sure that you don't have all those kerning changes and things like that. As you can see, there are, for the time being, lots of different mishaps here in the layout. And let's run the CZL macro. maybe you have the time to notice that the bottom bar in Word was quickly browsing to the different cleaning macros. And here we are with the new file. It hasn't been saved for the time being. That's why I wanted to use the light version. Some of the other macros here are automatically saving the file. As you may have noticed, the title here looks much cleaner, and even the text itself has less formatting changes. So it's still time to manually do a couple of other enhancements here. Okay, my file seems okay now. So I will save that under a different name. That will be my code zapped file. Now that it's saved, I close Word and simply import that code zapped version into MemoQ using the default. Here I'll just be using drag and drop onto my translations window. Okay. Now let's have a look at that file. You can see that there is still a little change here, which is normal because there is really a huge font change here for the copyright mark. But apart from that, from you can see now, we don't have any tags anymore, or very few near the end, or just around meaningful entries like that copyright sign or that registered trademark sign. And at the end, I don't know if you remembered about those key technical features where we had lots of tags and even the boilerplate on top of that, which was also with lots of different tags. So you can see that now, even though you retain the formatting, you have really a much nicer file, which is easier to translate that way, and also will produce cleaner TMs in the end. And of course, the better your TM, the most leverage you get out of it. Okay. Let's just keep that file here and resume things. So we had to look at the PDF to doc conversion. What we'll be doing now is have a look at Excel and how you can use the advanced import options to quickly leverage multilingual Excel files using LiveDocs, and also how to easily export your Excel glossaries into MemoQ. So that's the first thing we will do actually. Showing you how to import glossaries into MemoQ. You may have done that already using the CSV format, which is, I would say, the usual way. But when you save as a CSV from Excel, you have to pay attention of what your code page was, so that you don't end up with missing accents in some languages, things like that. And for some people, it's still a little bit complicated. So there is an easier way dealing with the Unicode text, and I will show you how to do that. Then I will show you also how to leverage multilingual Excel files using LiveDocs. You may have noticed that in some industries, like the gaming industries, for example, it's very common to have Excel files to translate, which contain lots of columns with, different and IDs or comments or anything. And then you have in the same single file all the different languages for your project. Sometimes you do have all the strings filled in, so that you have your source text and then you have all the target text entries, but that's not always the case, and it's a bit difficult to align content. For example, if you have missing entries in one of your languages. Using LiveDocs will spare you that alignment and sorting things. So I will show you how to do that so that you get optimum leverage from those multilingual Excel files. That next part, which is about the tricky text entries, namely tags in Excel cells, I will show you how to tag them. It's very common that you get also Excel files which inside the cells have HTML formatting or whole C data structures, and dealing with that kind of text for the time being is a bit tricky with MemoQ. So we need some advanced preparation of the files. And after that, I will also show you how to translate embedded charts and tables which are contained in Excel files. As you may know, the current Excel filter in MemoQ doesn't allow you to translate embedded charts and tables. So for that, we'll be doing a round trip to XLSX. And I will show you how to extract those and translate them. Just beforehand, so that you have a better idea of what it is like, the XLSX files are in fact just a bunch of XML files along with the content to translate, or along with XML files to describe the structure of the documents, and some binary data, namely the pictures, sounds, or anything which might be included in your Excel files. And all of those are inside a single container, which is in fact a zip file. So you can just open an XLSX file with any zip archiver as you would do from any other archive. So that's for you to follow the XLX thing a bit closer. So let's have a look at the first thing, just importing bilingual or multilingual glossaries. You're not limited to bilingual. So this is something very simple. I just chose a simple example here. So even though we have the same text here copied into the different languages, of course, usually you would have your glossary with all the different languages. This one is for English, French, and German. So instead of saving as CSV, as most of you would usually do for importing to MemoQ, what you would need to use is to select the export as Unicode text. Okay, I'm waiting a little bit. Yeah, okay, there was a screen update issue, it seems. Okay, so instead of saving as CSV, just select Unicode text. When you select that, in fact, Excel will export as Unicode text separated by a tab for the different columns. And that's really nice because that's the default format for MemoQ. So you can just save that. Yes, no, we won't keep that workbook. And now we can see that the file has been saved. So let's cancel that and close Excel. And now in MemoQ, okay, let's switch back to MemoQ. Let's go to our term basis. And let's create a new term base. As we are doing that from an English into French project, you can see that the languages here, English and French, are already selected. So I will be creating just a standard term base, not a moderated one. So click on OK here. Now I select Import from CSV TMX, and I select my text file here. Click on Open. As you can see, here you have all the different columns. As I used the language name here in the title, which are already selected. So English is selected to import as term English, French as term French, and German as German. So you're fine with that. There is nothing else to change. If we had French and German here, you could see as the default UTF-8 encoding is kept that you will retain all accents, so you won't miss anything. You won't have to select any specific file encoding because that's the default used by MemoQ. Same thing for the delimiter, which is here the tab, and that's the one which is used by Excel for import. So you're fine with that. You just have to click on OK. Okay, yeah, it prompts me to add the language because I have German, and that wasn't part of my glossary creation. So I will just add the German too. And we're done now. So you can see that I will just refresh the screen here, that we have English, French, and German. If I click on Edit, you can see that I can select between the different languages. And all accents would be kept. You don't have to worry about, getting wrong encodings or anything. Just in one single step, just basically clicking OK, everything imports into MemoQ. So that's the quick way really to import your glossaries into MemoQ. So let's unselect that term base because we won't be using that one for the rest of the demo. Now, what do we have to do? Okay, leveraging multilingual Excel files. There are some kind of files like this Excel file here, which are typical from the gaming industry, but you might find that also in some technical publications, where you have entries with some kind of key string or ID string, which really makes that reference to the text. Then we may have comments or anything here. That's a category column. And then we have the text in itself. And as you can see, and that's what's annoying in some of the formats, you have source text, but you don't see your target entries for each and every entry in the source text. So some of them you can leverage, but some others you can't. So what we'll do is import that into a LiveDocs corpus. So that way we won't be bothered with all empty entries. So let's close that file. And I will show you how to do that. Because sometimes Excel import can be time consuming, I did import in advance things into that corpus, but I will just unselect it and select an empty corpus to show you how to proceed. So I will proceed the same way as for translating my material. So here, let's just, remove that file. Okay, let's go to the LiveDocs corpus, select it, and we'll add an alignment pair here for this project. So I will select my file, which is here. I select it for both source and target. Now what matters, and that's where all the tricky operation relies, that's in the filter settings. If you go into the advanced filter settings here, you can see all the Excel import options. So what I will do here is, I will not import comments, and I will not import the sheet labels. I'm just interested about the content of the file. And I will select the parts of the file which should not be imported. So remember that I clicked that for the source file. So what I will do is exclude basically everything except my source text to import. So I select my ranges. Okay, I see that the screen hasn't been updated. Yeah, that's the case now. And click Add Ranges. Same thing here. I will just exclude the French column from import. And okay, and I will also exclude that top header here. So what we will import here is really only the content of the English column. So let's click on Finish now. So that's what we will exclude from the import. As you may remember, there is an ID column, and that's something that you can use with MemoQ for Excel files, XLIF files, and some other file formats. Whenever you have a unique identifier, you can use that as context, and that way you will your context matching will be ID based instead of text flow based. So instead of having MemoQ compare the previous and next segments, MemoQ will use that unique ID along with the source text to know whether that's a context, a 101% match or not. So let's click on Context Options. And here I will need to select the range I will apply the context to. So let's select the range and say, okay, that will be all my D column. I add that range. You can see that's a different color. That's not excluded. It turns as yellow. So that's what the context will apply to. And as you may see already, things are on the IDs are on the B column. So what I will do is click on Finish now, select that range, and say, okay, the context, the first cell for context for that column would be B1. So MemoQ will know that for the first cell of that column, the equivalent context ID would be in B1, and then for the for this D2, it will take B2, and so on. So let's close that now. We have everything ready. Just in case we need to import that later on, what we can do is save that and say, okay, that will be my Excel import settings for source English text. clicking on OK. And now, basically what I will do is do the same thing here for French. So I could do the same thing, or, for example, reuse one of the settings I've used before and select the Excel import for French column only, and then the context ID. So that's basically exactly the same as what I did for the English, except that I just chose to import the French and set the context for the French column as the B column. So we have same ID as reference, and okay, do not import comments. Yes, import context ID, and do not import sheet labels. Clicking on OK now. So normally what I would do is just click on OK and import things. As this Excel file is quite voluminous, I already did the import and created another corpus for that. But it was to show you how to proceed. And also you can see that one of the options you have here might be very interesting for leverage to improve, the alignment for your translations. Here we are dealing with Excel files, but when you have Word files, for example, if you have a term base, you can use that term base as anchor to basically enhance the alignment using the terminology in your files. MemoQ will spot the proper terminology and use that for the alignment to improve things. Same thing for the formatting, for inline tags, things like that. So that's not relevant for our presentation today, but that's part of the advanced import options. So here I will just cancel that and select the corpus, which has been already selected. And as you can see here, I have my Excel file, and you can see that some of the entries do not have any French equivalent, but for all those that do, you will get matches. So that's quite important here to note one thing. We are importing Excel files, so it might be a good idea to go to your segmentation rules, and here create a specific rule for Excel files when you import them. It was already selected here. That's a default empty rule. So if you click on edit here, you will see that everything is empty. Basically, I created a default rule. I can show you how to do that. Just create a new rule, give it a name, click on OK, and now you can click on edit and simply delete everything. Delete all the rules you will find here. Same thing for the custom lists. Basically, you just remove everything. And I clicked on OK to check that. So when you do that, when you select that for Excel file, MemoQ has a particular behavior. That means that when it will import strings, whatever corresponds to one cell into your Excel file will correspond to one segment into your MemoQ documents. So we have our LiveDocs corpus here with the different text entries. So now we need to translate our file. So as we normally are supposed to translate everything in this example for French, you will need to make a copy of your Excel file in which you just copy what you had in your English column to the French column. I don't know if it's updated yet. I see a blue empty screen here. No, that's okay. Okay. So basically we just copied the source column into the target one. And that's what we will use to import for our translation. So let's open our document as to get the advanced import options. And let's select again the ranges. So that's basically to show you again how to do that, because we could just reuse the French import settings we had as they were saved. But okay, we will just exclude everything here, including that French header. Let's have a look at that. It seems to take a while to upload. No, that's okay. And now we'll click on Finish. So that way we have our ranges which are defined already. So I do not import the comments. I will just not import the cheat labels, but for context IDs, as usual, we'll also select the ranges. So click on Select Ranges and say, okay, that's this French column, that's the E column here, which will on which we will use the IDs. So we select that, and once into MemoQ, say, okay, the context for that column to be taken from B1 and further. Close. And now we have our import settings. We can click on OK and wait a little bit for the file to import. In the meantime, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to type them in the chat box or in the questions box, because I didn't see any so far. Oh, sorry. Yeah. About the recording, as promised last time, the webinar is recorded, and of course it will be made available on Kilgray's website. Okay, as you can see, the Excel file takes a little while to import. Okay, while it's still importing, I will be showing you maybe some of the next part, and that was related to a question we have here regarding the zip content here in the XLSX files for embedded charts and tables. Basically, what we will do is extract those XML files, and later on, what you need to do is replace them in the original zip container, but not recreate everything yourself. If you do that, you would end up with a corrupt XLX file. That's a bit tricky, maybe related to the way the XLSX is zipped in the first place. But basically what you do is just open as an archive your XLSX file. Then you go and choose, for example, your charts and drawings. Here, that's a chart, so you can just extract your charts XML file from it. And once it's translated, you replace it just by using your drag and drop here. So you do not close the WinZip or any other archiver you might have. That way you keep all the original zip packing settings, and you are sure that you can reopen that XLSX file into any any Office application. If you just select your XLSX file and just unzip it as you would from any traditional zip file, you will end up with a corrupt file. Note also that this XLSX thing here is also valid for many other file formats. Well, now we do fully support IDML natively in MemoQ, but for a long period of time, that's how you could translate IDML files into MemoQ, even though that wasn't officially supported. Long before we had the docx filter, that's also how you could translate docx files with MemoQ just using the XML filter. Okay, when opening. Okay, it seems that when I was opening okay, no, the live docs. That's perfectly normal. We had some of the target entries which weren't present in the file. So basically, MemoQ will align whatever it can find to align. But as we did a structure alignment, normally we're fine that will correspond to the different settings. So as you can see, it's taking quite a while to import the material to translate. Maybe I will just cancel that operation here. You will have to trust me on that, because that's just importing an Excel file, but that's really a very large one. So maybe I chose, yeah, that's 2 megabytes Excel file, which contains a lot of rows, so sometimes it's a bit tricky with the advanced options. That does work, and that's how I imported things into the LiveDocs corpus. So basically, what you will end up here is with your French column, which is a copy of your source column, and then you will get matches from your LiveDocs corpus, and you just have to translate basically as you would with any standard TM. So the next part was about the XLSX file. So that's what I will show you how to do now. That one would be much quicker. So what we do is not extract as a directory, which is tempting, but would produce a corrupted zip file in the end. Just open the archive. And then in this archive, you can see that you have several containers here. There is small XML file to describe what's contained within the different directories, but everything would be inside the Excel directory. And here you can see that's pretty straightforward, because you have the workbook in itself, and then you have the charts and the drawings and everything. So what you would need to do is, so first extract what you need to extract. So in my case, that would be charts. So I just extract that XML file here. and I will import that into MemoQ. So let's import that. And let's choose the advanced import settings. So normally going to tags and attributes and clicking, okay, no, populate won't do unless I select. Sorry about that. Okay, now I can list the different tags available in the source file. That's where you would need to do some thinking and try to spot the different meaningful filters. But here you can see that I did one already and selected the tag settings for the XLSX charts. If memory serves me well, that's pretty much importing everything. So you should be safe with that. So click on OK. And as you can see, that's much faster with the XML-based formats. And here, I didn't open the Excel file actually to show you. So maybe that's okay. Let's open that as read-only. Okay. And here you can see that's something very common for an annual report. And you can see that there is an embedded chart here, and you have the title of the chart, which you could translate into Excel just clicking on it and typing the name. But the default Excel filter wouldn't import that. But as you can see now, you can have that and translate it. So what I would recommend is that you first do that, translate this XML content here, and once it's translated, of course, you export your file normally, as you would with any other file in MemoQ. And while you keep that zip file open, or while you reopen it, simply navigate again to that charts part, and you can drag and drop here the charts XML over the one inside the zip. As you will see, I get a warning asking me if I want to copy that file to the archive again. Well, here I will just say no, but why not? Actually, we will do the whole thing again. Sorry, I will just copy everything from source to target and just show you the translated title. I should have done that. Okay. Then export. And yeah, I will override that chart.xml. Okay. Now let's overwrite the one in the zip file. No, I will make a copy of that zip file first, sorry. And I will do that, yeah, I will overwrite that in the copy only. XLS, charts. And yes, I overwrite that. Now I can simply close that, and as you will see when opening that copy, now you have your original file, but there you can see the translated title. So as that's something which does not appear into the standard Excel filter, doing that in advance, you just basically translate the charts beforehand and then the rest, because you have your XLSX file. Now you can save as a traditional XLS file and translate everything else into MemoQ. That way you will have a fully translated XLSX file. Okay, now as time is a bit pressing, I'll quickly show you how to use a third-party tool which is called prep tags that some of you may already know about. It will allow you to prepare really any kind of non-standard text file. Basically everything which is text-based, you will be able to tell what should be imported as normal text, what should be external and so not to be imported at all, what should be internal tag, then that's something which could would be repositioned and considered as a tag into MemoQ. So with prep tags, you will see that you can prepare just RTF files or XLIF files for translation into MemoQ. RTF or XLIF being the format you import into MemoQ, not the original format of the file. That's also what allows us, for example, to translate Quark Express, Copyflow Gold exports, and other tricky file formats. So let's here choose a kind of file that I had a while ago, and which would be tricky with most usual tools. So let's open that, enlarge. You should all have the full screen by now. Okay, so that's my original file, and as you will see, there is a lot of content here. So that's a simple text file, and then you still have a couple of things, like for each and every entry we have start and then an ID and then text, and then we have the text to translate. And of course that text to translate also contains some formatting or some parts which should be considered as tags. So as you will see, that's very easy to tag things into prep tags. Just you can define regular expressions, but you can just have quick workarounds for some things. Like, for example, you want to tag all li and /li tags. Just select that li, select quick add, and say, okay, that's something that should be external. That's not to be translated. That's something which should be external. So take that and, okay, sorry, I just took a dot which I shouldn't have. And then that should be external too. I will add that as a tag. And you basically tell prep tags what should be considered as a tag. Of course, you can do more tricky operations. So let's load the tag list that I have prepared already. That's step 2. Okay. So here we'll have most. Okay, I click on refresh to refresh the display. You will have most of your tags already done with that. So what we tell prep tags to do here is, well, use that command here, which is made to basically tag everything as external. And then, no, sorry, that's not the one. We tag all our different standard tags as external. And then we also tag that start line as external. And then we also tag that end line as external. And then we were left with this ID, something, and text. So that's the problem. That's also a repetitive pattern. That's always ID, a column, then some string, which is unique for every entry here, and then text, and then the text to translate. So what we did is define a regular expression saying everything that starts with ID then has any kind of characters and then ends with text should be marked as external. Seems a bit complicated like that, but as you can see, regular expressions can be made easy with prep tags. See that these account name, date range, from support, all those entries here could be tagged very easily because you can see that they always start with a lesser than, then a percentage, then some unique string, then a percentage, and a greater than. So what we will do is click on the tag builder here and say to prep tags, okay, the tag that I want to create, the tag to find, it starts with that, and then a percentage, and then it's followed by any character multiple times. Click on add, and then that ends with a string, which is percentage, and then a greater than. I will generate that expression here and say, okay, everything which corresponds to that should be tagged as internal. Okay, I click on update, and that creates for me the regular expression. So even though I don't know anything about regular expressions, I did create a regular expression to tag all those entries here. If I click on refresh, you can have a look now. I browse to the same part of the file, and as you can see on your screen now, all account name, date range, from support, report name, basically all those entries which should have been tagged now are tagged properly. So this is for the traditional way to define tags in prep tags. Now you have also other quicker options here. You can see there is a snippet library. So for tags, for example, like HTML formatting or stuff like that, when you have an Excel file, just copy and paste that column into a text file, that column that you need to translate, and then simply click on HTML stuff here. You double click here and click apply, and that will add to your tag list everything necessary. So that will, as you can see here, tag most of the common HTML formatting automatically as internal here. If you have C data structure, select that, and that single line here will tag as normal text to translate anything which is within the C data structure. So if you select that all external before, that would mean that you tag everything as not to be translated, and then you add that except for C data that you tag as normal. So basically only stuff within the C data structure would be tagged. You also have easy options like, for example, set normal between. So if you tag everything as not to be translated, and then say, okay, except for anything which is contained within target and slash target tags. So everything which is within those two tags, and then you click on apply, would be tagged as normal text, hence text to translate. So that's what you get here from your different things, you can see that there is still well, the tagging is done correctly. Normally that part is also to be translated. It's prepared now. Every time you change something to the regular expressions, you can just click on refresh and you see instantly the effect it has. And that's what's great, because you see in real time if your regular expressions here are okay. So I will export that, and as you can see now, I can export as tagged RTF or TTX or even XLIF. All of them are just fine with MemoQ. Although if you choose to use the freeware version for prep tags, you will only be able to export as tagged RTF, which is fine for text-based formats anyway, because once translated, you just select everything in your file, copy and paste into a text editor, or just save as Unicode text, and then you're fine with that. Here I want to show you one of the other options, which is very interesting. That's the touch-up feature. That touch-up feature will only be available if you have a registered prep tags. So you would need to register for that. But that's very handy, because it opens a new window, and in that window you will be able to deal with all the peculiar formatting that you may not have spotted or tagged correctly using the regular expressions. And let's say that all that Grunwald something here and all that text here that I'm currently selecting is, let's assume that's a boilerplate, and you know that you won't have to translate that, or that you shouldn't translate that. So instead of removing that from the document or defining a regular expression to say, okay, everything which starts with that complete line of dashes and ends with email is strictly forbidden, for example, which you could do with just tag everything between that and that as external, and that would work. Or instead of defining a very, very long tag, just select that and click on external. And now you can see that your text is marked as external. I just have to save that now. I will save that to the desktop. We can reduce prep tags here, and let's open the file. Well, I will just reduce the view so you can see that. And as you will see, we have everything in our file which is tagged as we wanted, exactly as it was shown in prep tags. And you can see that this Grunwald something here was simply marked as external. And when you import that kind of file into MemoQ, maybe the Excel, yeah, by the way, the Excel part is finished by now, but let's import that RTF file. And open that now. So as you can see now, you have only the actual text to translate, and you're not bothered with all the different text and entries, all the different tags, the from support, stuff like that, which you don't have to translate, or unless they end up inside a sentence, in which case you still have to translate that, but it would appear as an internal tag here. So that's how you can tag lots of different file formats. That's how, for example, you can prepare easily a TXML file for translation into MemoQ. We have a tag list for that. You can have tag list for many file formats, or even custom file formats that you may end up with. in this case here, for example, tag list, I have tag list already prepared for ASP files which contain C data structure. That's something very very common. Also an improved tag list here for PHP files that will tag everything out of the that shouldn't be translated, for POT files, for this infamous copyflowgold.tag exports from Quark Express, so you can translate them in within MemoQ. Well, for regex, that's a bit different. We can of course translate a regex that way, but now we also do support regex directly from within MemoQ, so you won't have to worry about that. So the TXML here, which tags a TXML file for translation into MemoQ. Oh, that xlif is actually quite funny, because that's the reverse operation. That's not for getting something into MemoQ, but out of MemoQ. Just take any, well, actually we could create one here. Let's say that we'll export that as xlif. That chart something here as xlif. So let's export bilingual, and we export that as xlif without skeleton and not compressed. So that's chart French.xlif. Okay. And let's open that now in prep tags. Okay. You can see that thanks to this tag list, everything which is the actual xlif encoding is properly tagged as external, and you won't have to worry about that. Only, I know that's swamped by the gray text, but you may notice that you have this translated title. Remember, that's the one we wanted to translate. Here it's tagged as normal. And here, staff 1, January, February, March. All the text entries we had to translate here are simply properly tagged as normal text. So with that, you can prepare an RTF file which could be translated into any other CAD tool. And once it's done, you recreate your original xlif file and re-import into MemoQ. So that's one of the many ways we also have the bilingual table option, because pretty much anyone could open RTF files. But if you want, someone else to be working on an xlif file generated by MemoQ, and if they don't support xlif, that's one of the ways to get things round-tripping through them. Well, about the inline tags or normal tags, because here I exported as RTF, but if you have a Prep Tags Pro version, you can export your file as TTX or xlif. So you could very well just export your file as TTX and translate that TTX into MemoQ. That will work, and your tags would appear as inline tags in that case. Same thing for xlif. So as you see, that's not limited to MemoQ. That's something you can use with many different tools, and that's really a nice tool to have. So it's available also as freeware. The main limitation of the freeware version being that you can process only one file at a time. With the professional version, you can import lots of different files and batch export them. So if you have whole websites or lots of ASP files with C data structures or anything text-based, basically. And that's pretty much it. I think we covered everything. So if you have any remaining questions, I think we already went a bit beyond schedule, but if you still have a last question. About the example of CMS content from Joomla, that depends on the export you get. If you get ASP files, you can very well translate them. The ASP with C data structure, for example, the tag list I have was the one I used for my own website when I was still freelancing, and I used Joomla, so that that's something you can really do. Okay, so thank you to all of you, and that webinar will be made available as a recording soon. Bye bye.